So it's 10 a.m. now. I would start the webinar. I hope you can hear me clearly. My name is Theodor Recklin. I'm a technical application engineer at IBC Solar Germany. Please do not be confused when you read as moderator Dieter Mina. I'm just using the account of my team leader. Today we want to introduce you our new PV manager, the version 5.0. For that we have I have some support from the PV manager team, my colleague Alexander Kämmerer with me. First, he will introduce you our new PV manager version with the new features and the advantage compared to the old PV manager. And after that, I jump in directly into a live demonstration and will show you the new PV manager. Before I hand over to my colleague, I want first to clarify some organizational points. This webinar is going to be recorded, and I will provide you the link for the recording and also Alex's presentation after the webinar. I think on Friday, because tomorrow in Germany is a public holiday. And in case of any questions, please feel free to use the chat box and me or Alex will answer them. Okay, Alex, so if you are ready, I would hand over to you and the stage is yours.
Thank you. Good morning from me. My name is Alexander Kämmerer and I work at the IT department, and I am responsible for PV Manager, mainly for support and trainings in Germany, and also for development. And so we have some programmers which we work with, and I'm responsible to get new features in the PV Manager and stuff like that. And for 2 weeks ago, we started a new PV Manager in Germany, and now we are ready to start in international businesses also with the new PV Manager, which is available right now for you to download. First of all, I would start a short poll about your experience with the PV Manager, so you can so we can have an option if you are beginner or expert, see how experienced you are with the PV Manager so far. Okay, it looks like we have some beginners, some advanced, and also some users which haven't used it so far. But if you are already used the PV Manager, the new version will be similar to the old one. So you might, after a few days working, you will completely feel comfortable with the new PV Manager, I guess. Exit the poll and start a presentation. Okay. Why did we update the PV Manager? We had an old version called PV Manager 4.0, which was built with Microsoft Silverlight, which is an outdated tool, and the support has been discontinued. Also, the browsers we had to use did not support this NP API intersection that was necessary to work with the Silverlight, and so the development was limited there. More than 2 years ago, we started developing a new PV Manager in the background, while the other versions were still available. And in these days, you are presented the results. Some technological background: the new development has been made with .NET Framework.
Alex, sorry for interrupting you. I cannot see your screen, or have you shared it already? No, yeah.
Okay. The new development has been made with .NET Framework and with Windows Presentation Foundation. So this replaces the Silverlight in the browser. So we could use the existing program and just wrap around this new framework. As a result, a short local installation is necessary, which will take about 3 to 5 minutes. We have focused to keep the installation easy and short to stay flexible when you are using different workstations. For example, you can use a computer in the office and one at your home, and log in with your login information and have access to all your projects there. The license is not connected to the installation or the computer. So as I just told, you can use any computer where the PV Manager is installed and log in with your license informations and see all the projects and settings from every computer. For the installation, no admin rights are necessary. There are no options to choose during the installation. And the installation is about 130 megabytes, the installer file. After you have downloaded this, the license is checked if you have a valid license, and the program is installed automatically. After the installation is finished, a shortcut is placed on the desktop and also the start menu. So you can start a PV Manager from there. You don't have to go to the portal anymore. You just start it directly from your desktop. When you start with the desktop shortcut, the license information is asked again. You can also remember your license. At the next login, just start a PV Manager. There is a question mark in the top navigation. When you have started the PV Manager, you can see also a logout screen if you want to log out on this computer and maybe use a different user. Most of you will only have one user to use on one computer. Also, you just need it if you want to use a different user, for example. The PV Manager 5 is an online-based version, so we always need an internet connection. The projects and settings are saved to our server, and they are accessible from any computer. This is the cloud feature that you can have access from anywhere when you log into the PV Manager. Compared to the old version, we have more local caching and saving in between. So the most parts of the program are saved on your local computer while you are working with the project, and only on specific points the project is saved to the servers. That gives us the option to have a restore feature if the program is failing or your computer has shut down, for example. An unsaved project will be shown at the next startup to be recovered. We still have our working offline version, but this is still on the old version 4.0 for a period of time. So we have planned to adapt the PV Manager 5 to the Tray app, which is the local server, within the next weeks. But at the moment, it's still version 4, and you still need the Silverlight version if you want to work completely without internet connection. Some advantages of the PV Manager: the data can be saved local on the computer while you're working on the project. So we have less data transmission and less problems causing to transmission failures or something like that. And we have this recovery points if the program or the computer got shut down unexpected. At the next start, we can offer a recovery point. We can use the local hardware power. So if you have a strong computer, you will notice during the work with PV Manager. Some additional features are also planned to insert in the PV Manager. For example, screenshots in 3D view, which was not possible in the old version. If there are necessary updates, so we have new features or bug fix versions, you will get time slot announcement in advance, so you can will be noticed that the program is not available for maybe an hour or something like that, some days in advance. And if you start the PV Manager next time after this time slot, the update will be installed automatically. Articles and prices are updated nightly from our server and delivered to the client when you start the PV Manager in the morning. If you do not close the PV Manager in the evening, for example, you will get a notification that there's a new data available and you can restart the PV Manager the next day if you want to. Some information about the navigation. The main changes to the old version is navigation and this local saving function, more or less. But I guess Theo will show during the live demonstration some of these features. Yeah, the compatibility between the old and the new version. All data settings and projects and customer data are identical for both programs. They are linked to the same database. PV Manager 4 will still be available for a period of time. I would say a few weeks from now, maybe 2 or 3 months, something like that. But the projects are compatible upwards. That means you can access all your projects from PV Manager 4 in PV Manager 5, but only in this direction. If you have opened or copied a project in PV Manager 5, it cannot be accessed from PV Manager 4 anymore. For this case, you can make a safety copy if you're not sure about the use of the new PV Manager. So just open PV Manager 4, make a copy of the project, and work with this copy in PV Manager 5. It's also possible to use with multiple PV Manager sessions. So if you have started a PV Manager and you're working in a project, you can also start a second session of the PV Manager and work with another project or check a copy of the project or something like that. Okay, that was the technological background so far. If you have any questions, feel free to ask them right now, or else we start the live demonstration. Okay, we have a question. Will the old offline version come to the new version too? Yes, we are working on that. So I guess we will have a local database who can work offline with the new PV Manager. The installation link, I guess they will be sent afterwards.
I will show them where to download and everything.
Okay.
So thank you, Alex. I hope there is still one question. Yes, Ole, I will provide you the slides on Friday, I hope. Yeah. Okay, so Jarmo has, yeah, Jarmo, you are right regarding the new version compared to the old version. When you are already advanced with the old version, then it's not a big deal to change to the new version. So you will also get fast used to it. Miroslav, I hope you have fixed this, your problems with the screen presentation, but you will get the slides afterwards. And the implementation of new languages is planned. Yeah, you're right. I will demonstrate it in a couple of minutes that the new PV Manager version is only available in German and English, but in later time, it's also planned to integrate the other languages which were also in the old PV Manager. Okay, so I share my screen now. I hope you can see the screen. Alex, can you give me some feedback?
Yeah,
You're
it's
muted.
working.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so before we jump into the live demonstration, regarding to the poll, before Alex has started the presentation, I want to show the beginners and the guys who have clicked on not used yet, where to download and how to download the PV Manager 5.0. When you have access to our portal, you can, where you usually go to the old version of the PV Manager, you can download it directly in the portal. So here, when you go to PV Manager, to the bar PV Manager, you can download it here. You have also here a quick start guide and installation operation. So this is a step-by-step manual how to download and install the PV Manager 5.0. Of course, as Alex mentioned, you can still use the old PV Manager for an interim time, which is not defined. So for a few weeks or months, we will decide. I think it depends on the languages. When the languages will be available, then the old PV Manager will be discontinued. Okay, so when you have downloaded the software, this is, as Alex mentioned, an online version, which is browser independent. So when you download it, you can save it on your desktop, for example, and then you can access it every time. You don't have to go in the portal anymore. But before I jump into this application, some hints to the sales markup. As you know, the sales markup for the whole PV Manager, for the whole account, can be defined still here in the portal. And the offline PV Manager was described by Alex that you still can use the offline PV Manager, but based on the old version. The new version is planned for future. Okay, so when you have downloaded your PV Manager application here, no, I show you how to. I had it still open, so double click on it. Don't be confused. The faces are my colleagues from my department. The first loading time is a little bit longer compared to the old PV Manager, but this is just to make sure that the PV Manager itself is then faster in its designing. I think this is due to my internet connection, maybe, that the loading time is so long. This is really unusual. Sorry for this. Alex, do you know why it's loading so long? Okay, now. I think it was my bad internet connection, sorry. Okay, so then you just log in with your login data. And if you want to use the Remember Me feature, just fill the checkbox here. The Remember Me function means when you just close it, like I've closed the application here with the cross on the top right, and you will start the PV Manager again, then you access automatically in your account and you do not have to insert the login data again. And you see here always the current PV Manager version. So it's something automatically updated. Okay, so then the first screen appears with the news. So the new features, new updates are always shown here. You can either read it if it's a new version. Now we are using the 5.113. And you can close it. So as you know, as advanced PV Manager user, PV Manager is automatically creating a new project number. But before we go step by step through this navigation here, which is now on the left side and not on the top like in the old PV Manager, I want to explain you some icons here at the top bar. So as Alex mentioned, when you want to log out, you can log out here, or if you want to use the Remember Me function, you can just close here and open the PV Manager again. If you have some errors, you can send an error report directly to our PV Manager team. And if you want to change the language, this can be done here. Regarding Miroslav's question, yeah, it's now only available for English and German, but more languages are planned for the future. I think we have in the old PV Manager 7 languages. I'm not sure actually. Okay, and then you can go directly to IBC Solar Shop or print out our price lists. These icons here, you can save the current project, but usually PV Manager is asking automatically if something is changed and you want to save. If you want to save the project. Here you can reset the project. This is really important. This is like the project management button in the old PV Manager. So here projects can be copied or shared for internal support or external support. We always recommend for customers when they want IBC support, please share your project or approve the project for IBC support. So then you will get here a second green hook, and then we are able to access to your project. Just to remind you, as Alex mentioned, if you have here PV projects from the old PV Manager version and you open it once in the new PV Manager, you're not able to open it again in the old PV Manager. So it's only possible in this direction. And if you're using the old PV Manager and want to open a PV Manager from the new PV Manager, then you will receive a warning that it's not possible. But anyway, so before we jump into the step-by-step, I want to show you also these icons. The customer management is still the same. For the advanced users, they know you can, for example, define your customers and insert it, and at the end, this data are in the report. The import and export project is limited, so you cannot import projects from other accounts. It's only account related. Let's go here to the management. In this management area, you can define your own articles or own modules, which then can be used in the in the bill of materials, or the own modules can be used for the planning and designing. You can also import load profiles, change currencies, or define freeform texts. Claudia, haven't found the installation link. Claudia, are you in the portal? Okay, so yeah, this is just similar to the old PV Manager. You can also define here your company logo, which is then at the end in your report. You can also put some program options. So here you can set default settings, for example, for your location, for your project, which location shall be shown as always as first as default. Everything can be here predefined. Then let's go to the tools. As you know, we do not have only the step-by-step tool. We have also some more tools in our PV Manager software. For example, the profitability. Some words to this. This is only created, or it was actually created for the German market, but it can be adjusted for international market, but it's not so, perfect for all markets. It's more or less defined for the German market. But you can, learning by doing, you can try it out. Then we have the inverter dimension. If you do not want to go step by step and you do not need the sub construction, you can jump directly to the inverter dimensioning, where you just have to insert the modules and the inverter, so you're able to do the inverter dimensioning directly. Also wire losses, the project planning tool, calculation of profits, and the AC connection plan. But due to the time, we do not have time to go into detail in these tools. If you are interested in these tools, please send us an email and we can support you. So now, after 27 minutes of introduction, I would say we can jump into the real life demonstration of the step-by-step project. As mentioned, the project is created automatically as new. If you want to open an old project, you can open it here. And then I define always the commissioning. Let's say my abbreviation, PV Manager 0 webinar. So mentioned, you can here define your customer details, and you can also define the status, just similar to the old PV Manager. Claudio, do you have a PV Manager license? Maybe you should ask your regional responsible sales manager. Maybe he can give you a free trial, or you can also buy a company license or a single license. Okay. Maybe we can clarify it after the webinar. As mentioned before we jumped into this PV Manager tool, the selling margins for the whole PV Manager account has to be set in the portal, but the selling margins project related can be set here. It's also similar to the old PV Manager. The currency exchange rate and the reactivated article. For those who have never used PV Manager or are beginners, this feature is nice in my opinion. So you can reactivate modules or inverter which have ever been in IBC portfolio and use them for a project. For example, old 255 watt modules, which are out of our stock for several years already. But maybe you have to recalculate a project, or you have still some modules on stock which are not in our portfolio anymore. You can reactivate the article here. When we have defined the project settings, we can go to the location. As mentioned, the location can be predefined. So here I have for sure our location from IBC company here in Bad Staffelstein, Germany. PV Manager is automatically showing the closest weather data for this location. And it's depending on the country. For Germany, it's more or less already predefined. When you have another country, you have to check the absolute altitude and set the snow load and wind load zone. Some words to the reliability factor. You can always click here on the info icon for some definitions. We as IBC are always planning with 1.0. This is standard here, but you can set it to 0.9 or 1.1 depending on your on the impact on human life. For example, when you have agricultural building with low people traffic, you can set it to 0.9. Then the background of the calculation, of the statistical calculation, is a little bit more conservative, and you need, for example, less roof hooks. Yeah, but it's on your risk then. We as IBC always use 1.0 as standard. Then you have to define the terrain category. This is also depending on the country. In Germany, it's defined, it differs in 4 categories. Usually it's category 2 or 3. I know some beginners are using 4, but please read the definition. So the building height average has to be 15 meters. So in most cases, it's category 3 or 2. And you can also define if it's an exposed location, either a ridge or crest. As mentioned, the snow load zone and the wind load zone has to be defined. This is really important to know if for calculation of the mounting structure, for the static calculation, and for the ballast calculation for our non-penetrating flat systems. As mentioned, for Germany, it's already predefined for the locations. Okay, if there are no questions regarding the location, I jump to the planning. There's also not that much difference compared to the old PV Manager. You can just create a rectangular building or polygon flat roof, for example, like that. Yeah, I know this is just a funny building, but this is possible for flat roofs, for example, just to show you. You can also insert some trees or other external objects to simulate the shading, for example. You can also put an image overlay tool, so you can snip in Google Earth a building and insert it here. I want to demonstrate to you. So, for example, I think this is a building from Sweden. Honestly, I'm not sure in which city, but I'm showing this always in my webinars. And I already forgot how long the building length is, how long the building and wide the building is, but you have to scale the picture. Let's say 20 meters, for example. And then it will be automatically set that this length is 20 meters. And after that, you can, for example, put a overlay here and adjust the rectangular building to the dimensions of the picture. For today, I want to show you a rectangular and a flat roof and a inclined roof. For the flat roof, you have to define here the roof shape, or for every building, you have to define the roof shape first. So You have several roof, pitched roof, shed roof, hip roof, butterfly roof. Honestly, I've never designed a butterfly roof, but let's say here in this case a flat roof. Then you have to, which is important to know, is the roof covering, either it's bitumen or foil roof, to know which secure mats under our base race, for example, are needed for our airfix system, or which static friction coefficient is used as standard. And you can also install on gravel surface if you want. And important to know is also the inclination. You know that our aerofix system is needs a slide protection if the inclination is higher than 3 degrees. And it's always to know good to know the inclination regarding the ballast for our non-penetrating systems. So when you go to the via double click to the roof area, you will see that the PV manager is automatically transferring the layout also in this area. So when you would have disturbing objects here, you could put disturbing objects according to the snip. Let's say we have here, for example, disturbing objects. Maybe we have also some RVAs here. Let's see here. We can also do okay, this was my mistake. What I wanted to show you is that you can also copy paste just via the keyboard, Control C and Control V, or you can also use here copy object to clipboard, and let's go the faster way. So now we have here with Control C, Control V, a second RVA. You can also, the icons are a little bit different. I'm honestly also not that used to that. Sometimes I have to check what the icons mean compared to the old PV manager. But here can be set PV optimizers, the shading can be shown, etc. But let's put some modules on it. The modules have to be, and the mounting structure have to be defined on the right side. I think the most of you already know our flat roof systems. Let's go for Aerofix East-West, which is common. This is the modules have done an inclination of 10 degrees. It's a non-penetrating system, so PV Manager is calculating automatically the ballast. For Aeroflat, this is a roof parallel non-penetrating system. The PV Manager is for not calculating the ballast automatically. This has to be done by our static experts manually. So if you have an Aeroflat project, please provide us a filled-in checklist, filled in and signed checklist, and the PV Manager report. So then we are manually calculating the Aeroflat system. But it is planned that PV Manager has this feature to calculate the ballast in the future also for Aeroflat systems. So let's go for the biggest module. Then you have to define the module clamps. I'm not going into the detail because I'm sure the most of you are advanced. For the beginners, we have also PV Manager basic webinars once a month. So if you want to register, they are for free, where I go more into detail in the basic PV Manager functions. And then for such a big project, I would say we go for all lengths. So when you go for the small base race, then the installer would not like the solution because they have to connect a lot of rails. So let's go for all lengths. So also the 5-meter rails are calculated, and we want east-west 90 degrees. And then we can put automatic module occupation. And then PV Manager is automatically showing you. Now you have seen the warnings are a little bit different compared to the old PV Manager. In the old PV Manager, you had here a box with blue, orange, or red warnings. Now they will be shown just for a couple of seconds, and if you want to read, you have to click on it. Problem with ballasting of invalid modules. Okay, so we have a ballasting problem. The ballast can be checked here. So the issue is that these modules are not able to be ballasted, and if you see some lightnings, then either delete the modules or try to change the setup. For now, we can, for example, put the RVA more to the left, and then it should be fixed like this. Now you see we have a maximum ballast of 32 kilogram in the border and edge areas. In the normal area, we do not need here any ballast. If you want to check the border and edge area, you can display them here. The brown are the edge, and the lighter brown are the border area. Now we have in our PV Manager a new feature which is called module editing mode. For such a small project, that's not a big deal, but when you have a project higher than 100 kilowatt peak, you can click on activate this feature. So that means the mounting system and so no ballasting, no static calculation will be done in the background. So you can faster put a module layout. And when you have set the modules, you can then disable this mode again, and then the mounting structure, the ballast, everything is shown. So you see here, when I activate this, then I cannot see the subconstruction and also not see the ballasting. So for big projects, it's easier to delete and add more modules or to put them more to the left. So it's a really nice feature for bigger projects because there is no calculation in the background. When you finish, just disable this feature, and then you can see the mounting structure again and also the ballast. Any questions regarding the flat roof? If not, then you can also define an Attica, but I'm sure you know it already. I've forgotten to show. Let's jump to the inclined roof. We have again to define the shape. To keep it simple, we just use tile roof, but we have also solutions for all other roof covering, trapezoidal, metal sheet, tin roof, metal seam roof. But due to lack of time, we have to run a little bit. And you can also set the inclination of the roof, and also the space of the rafters is also really important to know due to the static. In Germany, it's usually 80 centimeters. Then we can go into the roof area again. Double click. We have here to define again the module which we are using. Let's say again the 375, the clamp color, the clamps G3 or G5, and which roof hook, and which module carrier profile. And the butt connector. The butt connector is the connector between this carrier profile. So I go for inside, which is more installer friendly. And then we can also insert, for example, a skylight, which is usually in between two rafters. Or you can also put some dormers in, but the advanced user know when you insert some dormers. In PV Manager, it's not possible to put modules on the dormers, so you would have to draw a second building if you want modules on the dormers. And you can also insert a chimney, so you can simulate the shading. The shading feature is not at the end in the calculation, so the shading feature is only showing you where the chimney, for example, shades the modules, and then you can either delete the module or put an optimizer below the module, but it's not possible to consider it in the calculation at the end. Let's put some modules. Yeah, okay, this looks a little bit weird. Do it nicer way. You can define here the quantity and the columns. Let's say 2 times 9, for example, and then it looks like this. We have modules also in the border and edge area. If you want to check the statics, you can go here to show statics. You see everything is fine. If something would not be fine, then you would get here a notification and something here would be red. You can also check the subconstruction here. Put optimizers below the module. You can choose either the optimizer or the safety. Let's say, and then step by step if you want to put optimizers, and then they are automatically in the bill of materials. Okay. Then, if there are no questions, I wanted to show you the new 3D feature. We have in our PV Manager 3D view, which is now live. So that means when you change the inclination or the orientation of the roof, it's automatically also changed in the 3D view. An advantage is that you do not need any permission of Silverlight anymore for this 3D view. So let's, okay, I cannot show it live because I have only one screen here. But when I would change this, the orientation of this building, then it would be live changed here also. As you know, we can also do a small shading simulation here in the 3D view. But due to lack of time, we have to go on. To keep it simple, I delete the flat roof again and we do the inverted dimensioning based on the inclined roof. I just want to show you a hybrid solution with storage. Let's go to the connection. First, you have to set some data regarding norms. So either you are according to the German law or none, and you can define the reactive power and the unbalanced phase load maximum manually. And then you go to the inverter config. You can here define also the roof groups. And now the automatic and manual dimensioning are at the top and not on the left side anymore. So here you can define minimum module temperature and the other settings which are similar to the old PV Manager. You have to define the manufacturer. Let's go for Fronius. I want to show you the hybrid Fronius, the new one, the Gen 24. So we can dismark all others except the Gen 24. And then we can go for DC coupled. This is a feature which is not new, but some customers are not aware of this feature. You can here define your storage set, which hybrid inverter you want to use. I'm not sure how many kilowatt we have. We have 6.38. Okay, let's take the Fronius Simo Gen 24 6.0. And PV Manager is automatically showing you the BYD batteries which are fitting to this inverter. Let's take, for example, the 7.7. And you know, Fronius, the hybrid inverter, if you want backup, an additional backup box is needed. When you click on this box here, it's automatically then in the bill of materials. For Sungrow and GoodV hybrid inverters, backup is already integrated and no backup box is needed. So let's go to either automatic dimensioning or manual dimensioning. I prefer always manual dimensioning because usually as planner you have already in mind what kind of strings and inverter you are using, but you can also use the automatic dimensioning. Then in the manual dimensioning, you have to edit. Please, when you use the feature with the storage, which I showed you, then you have to select the same inverter which you have selected in the feature I showed you before. So the Fronius Simogen 6.0. Okay, we have to, our inverter is a little bit too small because we are using the German regulations. Just go to put none. So now it should fit, or you just increase here the parameters to 120%, for example, then this wouldn't be an error. Okay, then go back to manual dimensioning. And now everything is fine. So you see 17 modules, each one string 9 modules, the other 8 modules. The performance ratio, everything will be calculated automatically by the PV manager. If there would be an error, then the corresponding values would be marked in red. And due to the fact that we have used the storage feature, you have here put this hook, then automatically a battery is appearing. So that means that this inverter and the battery we have defined before are, how to say, are defined, so are together. Okay, and then you can go to monitoring and EMS, but for Fronius solution, you do not need a manufacturer-owned solution or a dependent solution because Fronius has already integrated a data logger in the device. But if you would use, for example, Sungro, you can choose either manufacturer-independent solution or manufacturer-owned solution, or SMA also the same. SMA would be here data manager, home manager, and manufacturer-independent solution would be a blue lock, for example. Then you can also define the strings. We have only 7 minutes left, so I have to hurry up. Yeah, you can see here, you can check the string connection here. This is really simple because we have 2 easy strings. You can also define it horizontally or vertically, but I think in this case, it makes sense to keep it this way. If you are do not like the automatic stringing from the PV manager, you can also select all cables, delete them, and do it manually. For example, like this. Okay. Yeah, I'm not so used to this feature, but you can do it. One question from Yarmo. Honestly, I do not understand it, but yeah, there are 2 differences in Fronius. You have a full version and the light version. The light version does not has integrated data manager, you're right, but the hybrid inverter, they do not have light versions or full versions. They have only one version, and there is a hybrid data manager from Fronius integrated. Okay, so we can just put all cables back. So when we have defined the stringing, we can go to the cabling mode. The cabling is similar to the old or identical with the old PV manager. You just have to define the length and the cross section and the color of the FlexiSUN cable. And you can also define AC cabling. but we as IBC usually plan only DC sites, so I always jump through the AC cabling. Then PV Manager showing the project has changed. So you can go to the quotation when it's saved. Quotation and presentation takes a while because they are again saved on a server, this data. And at the end you receive the whole bill of materials with the Tigo optimizers, Fronius smart meter, Fronius Gen 24, the mounting structure, the MC4 connectors, and really important, the PV battery warning label. If you want to put your own defined module articles, you can add them here. Or if you are missing something from our IBC portfolio, you can add articles from IBC. So we have 3 Tigo optimizers. We could add, for example, the CCA kit for monitoring of the optimizers. So one piece, add, and then you see Tigo CCA kit is automatically put in the bill of materials. 4 minutes left, so let's jump to the presentation. At the end, you can download a report. So summary, the report is still the same like in the old PV Manager. So the printout, everything is the same. When you have big projects, you can define the print layout to the format. And if you want to put an order automatically, you can go put the bill of materials automatically in your IBC Solar shop. Accept. Just want to show you. Now the shop should be automatically open. No, Ole, you don't have to go through all parts. If you want, for example, only inverter dimensioning, I have shown you before, you can use the inverter dimensioning tool. If you just want to have the mounting structure, then you can jump from the connection part directly to presentation and quotation. You can, if you do not need the connection, sorry, the mounting structure is in the planning part. If you just need the planning part, you can exclude the connection and cabling part and jump directly to the quotation or presentation. Okay, so it was automatically opened. So you see here your PV Manager designs here, and then you can automatically, or not manually add this design to your shopping cart and order directly via the shop. Okay, so let's print the report. You can also put electrical circuit diagram, everything you want in the report. As you see, we have defined a test customer, and the logo is here. First, you have a summary, all the settings you have defined regarding the building, the roof, the inverters. So it's the same like in the old PV Manager. So you have here the module array, the shading, the chimney, the mounting structure, the cut to size. So this is important for the installer on site, how they have to cut the rails, the dimensioning, the dimensioning plan, the disturbing object plan. So here the window and here the chimney, the string connection plan, and at the end the static report. This is more or less for static experts and engineers, but for you as customer or for your customers, it's important that the system is okay. I hope you can still see my screen, isn't it? Because I have here something weird here. Okay. Okay. Sorry for that. So this was the report. And we are, so in time, it's 11 a.m. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask. If not, I wish you a lot of fun with the new PV Manager version. And if you have any questions, do not hesitate to contact us. You know our Get Technical support. And yeah, just send an email and we try to answer everything. Yeah, thank you, Jarmo. So in case of questions, please feel free, or yeah, I wish you a nice day and stay safe in this critical times. And thank you to Alex for sure for your support. Thank you, Ole. Okay, then I stop the recording.